We'll meet again. We'll love again.
Easy guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Chlorophyll and today you join me for a new Let's Play series of Space Haven. This is an indie game lovingly crafted by Bugbyte Studios. It's a spaceship colony sim, placing you in charge of a ragtag civilian crew in search of a new home, and it's very similar to games like Homeworld, if any of you enjoyed that game. This game, in the build that you see it here, is Alpha 6. I pledged my $30 this week in order to try the game, and I haven't been disappointed. It's been amazing. I love little indie games like this. So join me as we start a new adventure here. Make no mistake, we can be whomever we choose to be here. Bloodthirsty pirates. We can be slave traders, kidnapping people, selling people on the black market. We can be alien slayers, feasting on the flesh of our conquests. Or a peaceful trade ship. But before we do all that, we're going to have to construct a sturdy vessel in which to call home. Our molehole amongst the stars, if you will. So we're going to start here on this first campaign here. So the first thing I'm going to do is pause the game here so we don't waste any unnecessary resources. We can actually see... So the first thing I want to do is kind of personalize this to our game a little bit. See, we can rename all these characters. And if we click on each of these characters in the top... I don't know what you call it in the top bar above. We can look at their skills in the bar below and see what they're good at, what they suck at. So medical, Digby's quite good at, say, at medicine and operations. So I'm going to give them a name that is appropriate to that, something that I'm going to remember, and something perhaps that might be unique to the channel. I'm going to let's name our new ship Doctor Bricktop. Now, what have we got next? Gunner. It's a lady gunner. I think it's only appropriate that we name this lady Ripley. She's also not bad at weapons too, which is pretty cool. So this weapon skill will be handy for us later on when we start going on away missions, so to speak. Hicks makes sense for someone that's good with weapons. And Jebediah, also good at mining. What was a good name for a miner? Let's just stick with Fred. Now that we've named our characters, all that's left is to name the ship. And the way I do that is just zoom out a little. And let's think of a name for the ship. The HSS Nutcracker. Okay, so where do we start? So we've got this structure over here on the right here. This is our power generator, and it slowly provides a constant state of power. And we'll need this to power everything that we have on the ship here. And this is our storage area. We've got an icon above it saying that it's full. It's packed full of stuff right now because we've just started the game, and the game has given us some free things to get started. This is the airlock. So we use this for docking the shuttle. Right now the shuttle's in the shuttle bay, as you can see it here. But later on, when we go on away missions or we want to unload cargo, unload people, we can use this airlock here. So we've also kind of just explained the space shuttle. Right now it's in its hangar bay. And these two objects here are mining pod launchers. So the individual crew here can step inside the mining pod and they can go on away missions. For example, I can show you here. They can collect these resources from these asteroids that surround us and collect resources, which we can then use to turn into materials. They also help us build the ship, the outsides of the ship. So right now, obviously space is unsafe for our crew members here. And as you can see right now, we've started the game, they're all in spacesuits. The reason they're in spacesuits is because we haven't got any life support set up on the ship. So it's probably horrible and cold and lacking in any oxygen. Even though Hicks isn't wearing a spacesuit. In fact, they're all not wearing a spacesuit now. I'm pretty sure there's no oxygen. Oh no, there is oxygen. Where's it coming from? Oh, it's draining rapidly. 156, 159, 137. So they are using all the oxygen up. So we quickly need to sort that out. So the first thing it's asking us to build here, if we go into the top right, is the game is telling us with the tutorial tips to build a tools station. And we can build a tool station from, let me think, it's production items, tools facility. I'm going to place it down, let me think, here I think. And then what else do I think I need right now? Let's just go with the flow. Let's just do what the tutorial says. So this tool station will allow us to recharge tools. If we look in the top left here, we can see building tools is right now, it's got a red 0 next to it. So I believe what the tool station does is it provides power for everyone's power tools so they can build things. So we're going to have to get on with that straight away. You can see some of these guys have got like red icons above them telling me that they're not happy with certain things. There's no light on the ship, so no one's happy that we're stuck in a dark prison. And everyone's really uncomfortable. If we want a more detailed look, we can take a look here and look into some things like how they're feeling, so we can see an uncomfortable environment. So we will work on this. This will get better. And as soon as that gets power, now it's telling us to build life support. So build an oxygen generator, build a gas scrubber. So that's pretty simple. We can just go down here into crew, into life support, and build our crew an oxygen generator so they all don't suffocate. God damn it. There we go. There's our oxygen generator, and our gas scrubber can go here. Excellent. So you can see here the crew start collecting things from the storage, bringing them over to this area, and once all the items that we need to build it have been gathered, they'll start constructing it. There are a few extra things that I'd like to do here though. I'm not too happy with the way some of these things are laid out, or this layout was given to us when we start the game, but I just want to move this power generator just one block back. So I'm going to move it there. We are going to lose power momentarily, but at this stage we should be fine. Yeah, so I just want to make this layout a little bit better. I'm going to start putting walls and doors in, start segregating this into rooms. So the next thing the game wants us to do is build a thermal regulator. There's two types we can choose from. One that just sits alone, or is kind of freestanding in the middle of the room. Another is a one we can mount on the walls, which saves a little bit of space for us. So I am thinking about where I'm going to place that. So let's start thinking about applying some walls here. So we can choose walls from ship walls, and we've got a variety of walls, and we can choose the pattern on the wall for decorative purposes later on in the game. We won't be stuck with this. So I'm just going to start placing some walls down where I feel it's going to be a good place to put some walls, essentially. As you can see, all the power has gone down throughout the building. That's because power generators have been placed, but we haven't set up the links. So you might be wondering what are links. So if we click on one of these power nodes distribute power around the ship. So everything within this green square will have power. Now the reason that these surrounding objects don't have any power is because it isn't linked to anything. So if I click links here, you can see it's linked to another power node over here, but the power station it's no longer linked to. That's because we've moved it one block away. So all we need to do to get power back is essentially just move this 1 point closer. Now you can see these green lines that have shown up. That says that we're in range of both power generators, or of both power sources. So we just need to get that moved. It looks like Ripley's taking charge of that. No, she's gone in the space shuttle hangar. What was she doing in there? Unknown. Meanwhile, let's get back to thinking about these walls and what I'm going to do with them. Right, so let's get a couple of walls down here. Right, so we've set some little tasks going here. What I'm going to choose to do next is just speed the game up a little bit, so we can just get on with these, basically. I don't like to run high speed too much, as it tends to... If nothing's happening and people are idling for a while, you can use a lot of resources in the background. So I'm going to change it back to normal speed as soon as possible. Now, the second thing I want to do here with these walls is figure out where I'm going to put the doorway. I think I'm going to place a door here, so I'm just going to dismantle that wall that we've placed previously. Just wait for that to be deconstructed. Sometimes you can see they have accidents when they're building things. I think they have a percentage chance to have an accident, and this is something they can get better at. I don't know if this is directly linked to their skills in building. I would imagine so. Now we can place that. Okay. So now we're going to place a door. So you can see here, we've moved the power node and it's finally been built. We can actually now link it here and here. So now we've got a direct link going from our power generator to the other links on the ship. And now you can see, hopefully, fingers crossed, we now have power again. Everything is freezing cold though. I do need to think about getting some life support systems. So I'm going to build a thermal regulator here. I'm just going to mount that to the wall, which I don't seem to be able to do right now. That's weird. What? It shows up as red? I think there's a few bugs going on here. I have noticed a few more bugs with the latest build. It's a little confusing at first. So it was highlighted red that it couldn't build it, but we could place it there after all. Now let's zoom time and let's get on with the walls. So it's telling me I can't build them, but then we can build them, which is a bit weird. Bugs do happen though. We are in an alpha build here. This isn't a game that's actually released yet. There's still a lot of work to do. So we might see a few bugs here and there, like this, where it says it's red, which usually means that we can't place the object, but in fact we can. So let's get a little bit of a makeshift corridor on the go here. If things haven't built yet, you can delete them immediately. If they have built, you've got to deconstruct them. I don't think there's a penalty in resources for deconstructing, but don't take that for granted. I may be wrong there. So this thermal regulator should be working now. Okay, that's fair enough. It must be the latest changes in this build. It used to be a lot quicker. So basically this thermal regulator here, we can see the floor around here is kind of sparkly. It's got those little white gritty bits in, basically ice. So it's absolutely freezing cold. And as the ship warms up, we can slowly start to see the ice disappear. It's just taking longer than I'm used to. Right, so the other thing is now telling us on the tutorial is to build lights, which is fair enough. Everyone wants to see. It's obviously a helpful thing in life to be able to see what you're doing. So I'm just going to place a few lights haphazardly. Yeah, so everyone's sleeping in the cargo area, which isn't ideal. The reason they're doing this is, if we visit the view modes here, we can see there's one called Comfort, and we can see all these big red patches. That's basically because the power generator here creates loads of discomfort. So no one wants to be around it. It's noisy, it makes vibrations, it's horrible. People don't want to chill out near it. So it creates this big red zone around, as well as the ship hangar does the same. We can actually see here. Comfort levels are increased by walling these areas away. When we start to build our crew areas later on, the kitchen, the canteen, places where the crew can chill, eat, relax and sleep, we want to build them as far away from these noisy areas as possible. Now right now everyone's hiding out in the cargo bay because it's still bad comfort, but it's probably one of the most comfortable areas on the ship. So is this top right corner here. So we're either going to see the crew sleeping in the bottom or at the top right here. So we need to build much more quickly. I'm going to speed this on a little bit. Now what I'm thinking about doing is having a corridor here, and we'll build a new section of hull out here. So this can be places for our production and our resources and our industry. But right now, I'm just going to wall that off there, and I'm going to think about making a garden area so we can grow some food. Where am I going to put the door? Where do I want the door? For pure symmetry and OCD, I'm going to place it there. So it's parallel with that door. I'm going to place that there. Then I'm going to think about what do I want next. The way I do things is to... No, we're on production and food. I'm going to slap a big grow bed in here. So we can grow all sorts of wonderful things. The other thing we want to provide in a gardening room is a CO2 producer, as plants love the CO2. So we'll place those two there. I think it'll need carbon and to produce CO2, and we won't have any yet. But we can at least get the basics of the grow room going. Now, what's gone? No power. So we've still got some power. Okay, I know why this is. This is because our power node here on the power grid isn't covering those lights on the wall. We could move it one... We could move it one over. So we're going to have a power drop. I don't know if we'll have to move this one again at the end here because that will fall out of link range. We'll have to see. Yeah, it's just sometimes setting up the ship can take a little bit of time. You've just got to set things up. Once they're done, they're done. So let's accelerate the production here and get on with some of the tasks that we've given ourselves. So the grow bed's complete, along with the CO2 producer. As you can see, we're at a complete loss of power again. So let's set this up. Let's get our link set up here. We're now out of range of this guy over here, but that's not too much of a problem. I'm just going to move this along one. Just set things up how we like them. So we've got some light now. These lights are now in range of our power node. I'm going to build a new power node so these guys can get some power. So let's go production power. Let's think about a good place to place this node. And a lot of the time it is just trying to pick somewhere. I think this would be a good spot. What's going to be a good place? I could move that one down. Let's place that one there. And I'm going to place another one here. And whilst we're at it, I'm probably going to need to place one here for this side. So we've got a few power nodes, and this is going to sort the power situation out for us. I'm just going to apply some lights so our intrepid crew can see where they're going and what they're doing. I'm not sure if it increases the amount of accidents when you can't see what you're doing. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I am still learning this game myself a little bit. So, what else do we need to do? So the game is asking us on the tutorial tips to expand the ship's hull. So we do need to do that. We're now running out of room in our ship and we still have things to build. So I'm thinking about some crew quarters, like a living area. Let's put some beds on the left side here and perhaps a kitchen area and a chill out area on the right here. I'm going to place them at the top of the ship here as far away from the noisy things as I can possibly be. So this used to give me a tooltip, I'm sure of it. When I clicked on comfort, I used to get a tooltip that told me, attached to the mouse, how much comfort level. I'm thinking that might be a bug in this build. But that's all good, we can work without it, it's not a problem. So, now we're moving into hull building mode. So what we can start to do here is just expand and shape our ship a little bit in the way that we want it. So I'm going to expand this corridor a little. And I'm going to think about how big do I want the bedroom area to be. That should be ample for a bedroom. And what about the kitchen? So let's... Will 4 be long enough? I think so. Beds and a toilet, no, that's fine. What I need to just check here is go on ship No, it's crew furniture. Or is it facilities? It's facilities. 3 across. Okay, that's fine. So now what you can see, we can see one of these space pods is launched. And now nothing has power, but it looks like our nodes have been set up. So let's set our links up again. We'll link these up and... Oh dear. Links. Link. Okay, it seems this is too far away. And this is now out of a power node as well. Constantly shifting power nodes. We can work around this, we can work around this. So, let's get this power sorted. So, we've expanded the hull a little bit here. You can see we've now got these extra sections here, which allow us to build a bedroom area that we wanted to build. And we can now build a kitchen up here. We've also sorted our power problems by adding just an extra node here, basically. We will need to make an extra thermal regulator as well. As you can see, we've got some ice forming here. It's obviously quite cold up here at the top of the ship. So let's just throw one of those in with life support. Actually, let's throw one in the grow room, as temperature's going to be important in here as well. So we'll place that there. Now let's start thinking about what we want to do with the bedroom. So, for the crew, let's just build some single beds. And we'll just have 4 beds here for our 4 crew. We may expand it when we get more crew. We can expand the ship at a later stage, but for now, I'm quite happy with 4 beds. We will need to provide some lights, as well as lights also provide comfort for your crew. So let's provide a few lights. That should be enough. We're also going to put a door on the front of the bedroom, which will kind of keep out any unwanted noises, really. I want to make this as quiet and as comfortable as possible. So whilst that's happening, we can get on with the kitchen. Right, so what are we going to have for Gordon Ramsay's kitchen here? So, let me think. Are we in crew facilities? Yes, we are. Crew facilities, and let's get a kitchen down. So this is where the a lot of the food is cooked up and created from the grow beds. Which also reminds me, we haven't set anything to be built on the grow bed. So let's just have a look here. If we select the grow bed, go into the bottom tab here, we can see we have a selection of things that we can grow in the grow bed. So let's choose some root vegetables for the top 2 plantations, some artificial meat for protein and such things, and then just some fruit. And plant that there. So that should be on the grow in the background, ready for our kitchen. Now, one thing I like to include when I'm creating a kitchen is, if I can find it, so I include a gas scrubber. Gas scrubbers get rid of any nasties in the air, essentially. Now, what I always find with the kitchen is someone will always burn the toast and set fire to the place, which is fine. They will extinguish the fire quite quickly, but it leaves lots of smoke and nasties in the atmosphere that no one wants to go inside. And of course, being a spaceship, we can't just open the window and just get rid of the smoke. So I use a gas scrubber just to clean the air out, because it happens quite frequently, to be honest. There's always someone that burns the food. I suppose at some point we can assign someone specifically to cooking who's a little better at cooking, but right now it can be a little tricky. So let's start thinking about what other things do we need in here. So this is also going to be a dining room for our crew. We need somewhere that they can sit down, relax, talk about the day. Well, let's get one of these big couches in here. I'm going to shove that here. I'm going to shove a small table between so people can put their food down, and a small chair there. And that should complete our kitchen area. Of course, we do need to put some lights down. So let's sort the light situation out as well. Everyone's sitting in darkness. And we'll put 2 lights there. So we've kind of got a bit of a crude, rudimentary ship coming on here. And it doesn't really look like a ship, it just looks like a square. We could call it a Borg cube if we wanted to. But yeah, we can start working on style, eventually. We're just so tight on resources at the beginning of the game. I just want to get as a basic survivable platform. So we can then get on. Oh, we need to build a toilet. That's important. Let's get on with the toilet. So we need to build a bit more hull for this. So what I'm going to do is just apply. It's going to be a large toilet. I suppose we can expand it later on. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. Looks like, yeah, like we were saying earlier, the insufficient resources for the CO2. What does that use? Carbon. And if we zoom out, have we got any carbon nearby? We do. We've got some carbon. So that won't be a problem. We just need to go on a mining mission. I'm not going to send everyone out on too many missions, as we've barely got enough. We've barely got enough crew. What will happen is if they have too many tasks, they'll just get overloaded, and then things start getting neglected. In order for things to keep running, you always need crew to look after them. So things like your power generation will always need these fuel rods. If they don't have fuel rods, you'll run out of power, and then everything in your grow bed dies. There's no light. Things need to be kept on top of, so we need people around to do that. So giving people too many jobs right straight from the off isn't always a good idea. So we'll just let this continue. We'll just speed things up and just watch them get a move on, basically. So as you can see, the bedroom's starting to take shape. We've got 4 beds here. We've got some light. This is our new recreational room. So there will be some time assigned to each day where the crew will just sit around, they'll have a coffee, they'll chill and chat. And it just generally increases their mood and makes them feel a little bit better. If we neglect things like mood, crew will get pissed off, suicidal. I haven't actually seen, unlike RimWorld, I haven't seen them start killing each other yet or anything crazy. But I suspect that's going to be a planned thing later on in the game. We'll have to see. But yeah, we don't want them too upset. And of course, if they're stressed and they're not sleeping, they have a tendency to just pass out on missions and things like that. We want to kind of make sure they're as comfortable as possible. So this is what this canteen area is going to offer us. A nice, comfortable area. In fact, how comfortable is it? We'll just have a look here. Let's look at our comfort meter. So it is positive. Right, okay. So now we have to start thinking about the toilet area. So I'm going to wall off the top of the dormitory here. And this will also prepare the beginnings. We might have an operations room up here with the navigation console and such. Okay, yeah, it's starting to shape up nicely. I want to place a toilet in there. So do I need to go crew, facilities, the X1 toilet? Everyone loves the old X1. Let's get a wall light as well so no one's excreting in the darkness. Some people like an excretion in the darkness, others don't. So we'll provide a light and just assume that they like to see where they're dumping. It's an important thing, important luxury. It's important to know what you're wiping. Light must be provided. Right, so with 2 things we lack here as usual. Our old nemesis. Power. So now the game wants us to build a recycler, so we'll get on with that next. But first, let's get on with our kitchen area. And let's think about power. Yeah, that should be good enough. Let's build a power node there. Just accelerate things a little. And just make some links. So we'll link up that, and we should have power. Power! It's also very cold again, isn't it? Should we get another thermal regulator? No one likes to poo in the cold. Gee whiz, let's have some luxuries. Some decorum on this ship, please. Now, I am going to make 2 further hull expansions. One to the top right here, which I'm going to do some of the navigation stuff so we can move the ship about at a later point. And we need an industrial area here, which we need to make some special alterations for that. I'll show you that later. But for first things first, let's just... I want to have this pilot's area here, where we can have our navigation console and such. I'm just going to put that there. Again, we're not building the prettiest ship here. I am aware it's not very good looking. We will work on this, I assure you. We will have a good looking ship later on in the series. But right now, let's just get things functional. Just look after our crew's needs, and we can start doing some other things out in space. So I've talked about things like our mining here, and we can mine these for raw materials. We can't yet process these materials. That's what we're going to need our industrial area for. Our recycler, however, is going to let us do something quite specific. So you can see down here this orange area. This is a derelict ship. This has been abandoned in space, and it may contain some goodies for us. So obviously it'll contain items that we can deconstruct. We can see we've got some engines on here. There'll be doors, walls, all things that we can essentially break down and bring back to our ship. The thing about these places is, though, there can be some nasties here. There can be aliens. We don't know what. It's all randomly generated. I have no idea what's going to await us on here, but we're going to have to go for an away mission. We'll do that away mission shortly. I don't know if that's going to happen in the next episode. It may happen in the next episode. We've already spent an hour on this. Let's just try and get this ship built. That's my priority for this episode. We definitely need to work on a ship. So industrial area. What do I need with this? So I am going to expand the ship in such a way... That's 3 wide. Oh dear, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm making mistakes! Stop making mistakes! Right. 4, how long? 4, I can't remember how long it was. 4, and that should be good enough. But we're also going to see... Well, we'll let that build out first before I get on with the next bit. There is something we're going to need specifically for the industrial area, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But first, let's just take care of a few more lights around the ship, as it's still looking a little dark in places. Let's get a door. Ship. Wall. Let's place that there. Let's get a door on here so we're symmetrical with the other door. OCD kicking in. And let's accelerate time. So yeah, we're just going to go over this. Basically, we can just see the crew eating here at the kitchen. I didn't really go through this before, but yeah, someone will make some food in the kitchen. They'll take it around to the food area. And this makes crew very happy. Everyone likes to have a munch, talk about the day, what happened. Maybe, casually sit with our backs to each other in the corner. Not quite sure what was going on there. Still. Yeah, this coffee mug just means basically it's break time. I think we can take break time away from them, but obviously that's not going to make for a happy crew. I think we can schedule things, can't we? Yeah, we can use the... Oh dear, there's something wrong with this interface. I hope that's not edited. Yeah, it is editing. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? This is definitely this build. Right, I'm not going to look at that. That's going to do crazy things. I think that was how it was beforehand. If it's not, we'll soon find out when people start complaining. Yeah, I think there's something with the tooltips. When you hover over things, it should give you some information, and it's clearly not working as intended. I may restart the game after this episode and just see what was going on. I apologize for that, guys, but game's in development. This is kind of a thing we have to deal with. So, let's accelerate time a little bit while they sleep. Right, so you can now see that we now have some of these extra hull sections. This area here is for our industrial area. This will be our command area. So, I'm just going to wall some areas a little further. Let's just get some wall down. I hope this is all making sense, guys. If I'm going too quickly or I'm doing too many edits or rushing through things, please let me know in the comments. Say, Chlorophyll, please stop that right now. And I will amend that for the next episode. Of course, if you are enjoying this, please let me know by liking the video. And I will make more of them. If you are fed up with this, then don't like it, and I will change to another game. That is not a problem, guys. So, what we need to do next is provide some... We're going to need, at some point, we're going to need the navigation console and the operations console. So this is where we fly the ship from, essentially. So I'm just going to build these two. The operations console will allow us to speak to other ships. That's important for things like trade, which I think we're going to need later. I usually, depending on what we find in the rest of the solar system, have a problem with power at certain points. If we have any weaknesses in certain resources, we're going to have to trade. So I'm going to need that operations station. So we have that down. Now, earlier I was talking about needing something special for this industrial area. And for that, we are going to need a spacesuit door. Now, what this does is it basically requires that anyone that walks through this door is going to put a spacesuit on and come out the other side with a spacesuit. So why do we want people to have a spacesuit? Well, in some situations, some machines might put off that much heat or that much vibration or gases, or they might create such a toxic environment that trying to stabilize that with, say, thermal regulators or gas scrubbers might just be really expensive for us. It's easier to just put people in spacesuits so they're protected from that environment naturally. So this is the way we tend to do things for industrial areas. So let's create some walls here just to... Right, okay. And we'll wait for that to be built. We'll also actually start thinking about the recycler. So the game's telling us to build a recycler still. And that will go... Can we turn it round? Oh, we can now. How much hole do we have? What do I want to do? Okay, I'm going to build that there. That makes sense for me right now. I'm going to think about a light, because everyone needs a light. It's also going to need a power node, because we're going to struggle with that at some point. It's going to tell us we've got no power. Pretty sure of it. Okie dokie. Production power. Where are you, power node? Let's just build that there. And let's just accelerate things and just get on with it, basically. Let's get this ship built. Right, so things are starting to take shape, guys. We've got our operations area up here. This contains these two very science fiction-y looking panels here. I'm just going to place some lights down. It tells me I can't, but I can. Thank you. 2 lights. And we've got a light in our recycler here. Now that we have the recycler built, the game doesn't tell you to do this. This is something that I tend to do myself, is just create some power capacitors. Now what will happen is every time that let me explain power in a little more detail. So I'm gonna set these to be built first, and then I'll explain somewhat of the power grid. We see all these little red numbers here. This is how much power is being consumed by the various devices about the ship. What we also see is a green number, which is the capacity of how much power is held within each of those items. Now the power generator will provide all the way up to, I think, on this size of generator, 250 power. It's doing, or is it the green number? No, the green is stored. The blue number is how much it's generating. Now, because of its power capacitor is so small, what can tend to happen is if there's a sudden burst on the grid, like you have a machine that suddenly starts and turns off, it can use that much power, like a spike, everything can cap out. So it just drains the capacity of all the nodes and all the power grid, and suddenly you have a power drop. And it takes a while for this 9 power, like every second, to recharge that. and we have these power outages, which aren't good. As I've said before, when you have power outages, one of the most annoying things, apart from your life support going down, is the fact that the grow beds and stuff, everything in the grow bed dies. It takes ages for these flowers to grow. So it can be pretty frustrating. So what I tend to do is I built these power capacitors. Now, they will allow us to store 1,000 energy each. So I'll build 3 of those, so we'll have 3,000 power. So my plan is, and the recycler is pretty bad for this, when the recycler starts working and it has these spikes and it has this load, those capacitors will help even out the load a little bit. They'll, like batteries, for example, that we just charge. So I'm going to build those power capacitors there, and that should help us with our industrial area. But anyway, guys, I think this is kind of a conclusion to our basic ship. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Please like and subscribe if you did, and it helps the channel immensely. Plus, it also tells me that you guys enjoyed this, and I was giving you some worthwhile information. If there's anything you'd like me to change about the next episode, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll try and make those changes as soon as possible. But thanks, guys. I think what we'll be doing in the next episode is moving over to this derelict ship, and we'll start going on some away missions, picking up weapons, start kicking some alien butt if we find any. Yeah, I think the adventures are just about to begin. But for now, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy, guys.